合唱。ナモ阿弥陀仏。
ナモ阿弥陀仏。
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 ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナモ阿弥陀仏。ナモ阿弥陀仏。Hello, and welcome to the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple. For this, our YouTube service for January 24th, 2021. We're very happy you've chosen to join us today to say Namo Amida Butsu and to contemplate on the great wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. Today, we'll be chanting the Juseige. The Juseige can be found on page 57 in the Blue Denver Service Book. We will then have a reading of Anjin Ketsujo Sho. Anjin Ketsujo Sho can be found on page 93 in the Blue Denver Service Book. We will then have a Dharma talk by Reverend Diana Thompson. Thank you once again for joining us, and we hope that you are having a great day.
Juseige. Dagon Chosegan Hishimu Jodo Shigan Fumanzo Seifu Joshogan Gao Muryoko Fui Dai Seshu Husai Shobingu Seifu Joshogan Gashi Jobundo Myosho Chojipo Kukyo Mishomon Seifu Joshogan Ryokujin Shonen Joe Shubongyo Shigumu Jodo Isho Tenin Shi Jinrikien Daiko Hushomu Saido Shoujo Sankumyo Kosai Shuyakunan Kaihi Chiegen Meshi Konmoan Eisoku Shoakudo Tsudanzen Shumon Kosojo Manzo Iyoro Jipo Nichigan Shujuki Tenkon Fugen Ishu Kai Hozo Kose Kudoku Jodai Shuju Seppo Shishiku Kuyo Isai Bud Guso 特殊特本元年心上満得意三害用女分無下地通達に不詳願学へり投資最小損志願や交換大戦の感動国書天人とうちんみょなまんだぶなまんだぶなまんだぶなまんだぶなまんだぶなまんだがんにしくどく平等正祭道本母大心往生Namo Amida Buddha.
Namo 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 Amida Buddha. Namanda, namanda, namanda. We'll now have a reading of the Anjin Ketsujo Sho on page 93 of the Blue Denver Service Book. Please join me in Gassho. In this illusory course of human form, embraced by Amida's great compassion, we've become one with him in Namo Amida Butsu. Deep in the illusory mind of sentient beings is the deep impression of Amida Buddha's infinite life, which becomes one in Namo Amida Butsu. Even as we exhale and inhale, the deep impression of the Buddha's life prevails. Since the Buddha and sentient beings are one, by nature, it is called Namo Amida Butsu. Every morning, we awaken within the merits of the compassionate Buddha. Every evening, we retire within Amida Buddha's wisdom. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to our YouTube Dharma service here at Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple. I'll open with a meditation number 11, which in the Denver Service book is on page 131. Please join me in Gassho. As the sun shines upon the earth, awakening into growth the seeds that have lain dormant in the soil, may the light of truth cast its splendor upon the minds and hearts of the multitudes, that they may continue to guide this nation and the world with great wisdom and deep compassion. May this same light shine upon us all, giving us the insight to realize that all life is one, that we may constantly strive for the well-being not only of ourselves, but also of all peoples everywhere. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namanda. Okay, thank you, everyone. Now, unfortunately, this particular passage does not tell me what the origin of it was, but I came across it and thought that it was very appropriate for this particular week. We have new leadership, we have a brand new year, and hopefully we have all gained a bit of perspective because of all of it. And one of the things that we always must remember as Buddhists, but also as human beings in general, is the idea that all life is one. That we all, even though we sort of live our own individual lives, everything we do in our lives, everything we say, everything that we experience, everything that we ourselves do is actually part of the larger whole. The idea of interdependence, and again, that all life is one. And in knowing this, the idea is that, as it says in this passage, that we must constantly strive not only for the well-being of ourselves, but also of all peoples everywhere, of all sentient beings. Now, of course, this is difficult. It's easier said than done, as we all know, because when we think about our well-being, sometimes it's very easy to be very selfish. We end up doing what we want or what we think is true and correct, even if it may not end up being for the well-being of others. And sometimes to the point where we ignore the well-beings of others because we want to do what we want to do. And if it's for the well-being of ourselves and maybe our close friends and relatives, then it doesn't matter the effect it's had on other people. And unfortunately, it's very easy for all of us to fall into that trap, to start thinking that we somehow exist in this small vacuum and that nothing we do has any effect on anyone, or that if it does have an effect, it doesn't matter because it's not us. However, when we consider the Buddha Dharma, we have to remember that one of the great truths that was brought forward was the truth of interdependence. We do not exist in a vacuum. We did not come from nothingness. We are the result of many causes and conditions that happened well before we were even considered to be here on this earth. And everything we do, therefore, has causes and conditions that will have effects not only right now, but far into the future. So this passage says in its opening, as the sun shines upon the earth, awakening into growth the seeds that lie dormant in the soil, may the light of truth cast its splendor upon the minds and hearts of the multitudes, that they may continue to guide this nation and the world with great wisdom and deep compassion. Now, obviously, I picked this passage because we have new leadership, and one always hopes that with new leadership, we will get better guidance, or guidance that will lead the multitudes to great wisdom and compassion. And when we talk about that light, the sun shining upon the earth that brings about the growth of these seeds, We as Buddhists are also talking about the great light of the Buddha's wisdom that is supposed to be shining out upon us at all times, trying to grow the seeds of wisdom and compassion within us, trying to remind us that we exist here on earth, but we exist with everyone else. And so part of the wisdom trying to be imparted is that in our strivings, not only for our own existence, but for the well-being of all others, we need to remember that the warm light of the Dharma is the warm light that's trying to get us to open our eyes and open our minds so that we do understand that thinking for ourselves, considering only our own needs and wants is essentially selfish and what we're trying to get away from. Whereas thinking of the earth as a whole, of all existence as a whole, and as a connected whole, we should veer away from that selfishness and try to open our hearts and minds with greater wisdom and greater compassion. Because in that way, maybe the light will start to be seen rather than all of us sheltering up with all of these shadows and all of the darkness and all of the fear. We can start to see the great light of wisdom and start to let other people in. So our hope as Buddhists is that as we move forward into this year, that we will be able to see and feel and appreciate more deeply this great light of wisdom, to see and feel and appreciate more deeply the interconnectedness of ourselves and all other beings. And hopefully in this way, little by little, we will be able to move into this year with greater wisdom and deeper compassion. It will never be perfect. Everything is always a process of constant learning. But knowing this, we can enter into it with more wisdom and more compassion. Again, no need for it to be perfect, but the more we strive to be wiser and kinder, or at least more understanding to ourselves and all other beings. In this way, we will hopefully become closer. We will be able to grow the wisdom and compassion in ourselves and in the world, and we'll be able to move forward from all of the weirdness that we've felt over the past couple of years, and especially over the last year. So thank you all for attending today, and we'll go ahead and close with Gassho. As the sun shines upon the earth, awakening into growth the seeds that lie dormant in the soil, may the light of truth cast its splendor upon the minds and hearts of the multitudes, that they may continue to guide this nation and the world with great wisdom and deep compassion. May this same light shine upon all, giving us the insight to realize that all life is one, that we may constantly strive for the well-being, not only of ourselves, but also peoples everywhere. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha.